Look, dude, you can act like you're upset about that. You're not. So let's move past it.
The fact that you're talking to me like I'm a child.
You're not. I'm not talking to you like a child.
Fucking upsetting.
How did I talk to you like a child? Tell me when.
I think you have to explain a word that you're using to me.
Most people don't know what that word means. I apologize.
Most people are fucking idiots.
This man you see committed a crime in front of multiple witnesses. It was recorded on multiple CCTV cameras. He had no alibi, but still continued to lie in the interrogation room. Was that a genius move? Well, to 31-year-old David Wright, who claimed to have an IQ of 150, this seemed like a good plan. This interrogation is truly a battle of wits, and the story draws you in right from the start. On February 17, 2019, Brianna Reynolds and her friend Raul Cuadros had planned to meet Christopher Phelps for a drug deal, but sneaky intentions were afoot, as in reality they were planning to rob him. Brianna had already done this once before. Little did they know, Christopher had recruited David Wright, Cody Orion Anderson, and Raymond Tannehill to turn the tables on them and rob them instead. During their exchange, Brianna refused to give up her purse and walked away with Raul. When the men tried following her, she pepper-sprayed Cody, and that's when David retaliated by shooting Raul. This is what followed next.
Alright, man. I think he's... Let me make sure. Alright. So I'm going to record our conversation. It just makes it easier for me to go back. There's no question as to why you're here at this point, right? I mean, it's been in the media, and we've had 4 people arrested already, so I don't have any big secrets to hold from me at this point, right?
I was just told when they arrested me that I was being arrested for murder. So.
Okay.
This will become a common trend. 150 IQ'd David feels compelled to respond, regardless of the relevance or necessity of his contribution to the ongoing conversation.
So let me just go over this stuff real quick with you, and then we'll get started, okay?
Okay.
So if you can just state your full name and your me.
David Randall Wright.
Okay. And it is February 20th of 2019, and the time is currently 12:17. And David, do you understand that this statement's being recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Go over your rights with you real quick here. So David, do you understand that you have the right to remain silent? That any statement you make can and will be used as evidence against you in a court of law? That you have the right at this time to an attorney of your own choosing, to have him present and to consult with him before and during any questioning or the making of any statement and at all other stages of these proceedings. That if you desire but cannot afford an attorney of your own choosing, one will be appointed for you at public expense, and that you may exercise your rights at any time. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Okay. Having those rights in mind, are you willing to talk to the police at this time?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, I mean, it's already been in the media. 4 people have been arrested. It's not like we don't know what happened to some extent, you know. We're a few days into this, so a lot of investigation has gone into this thus far. But there's always more that we don't know from every single party, right? Everybody has a little piece of the puzzle. We don't necessarily get the truth from everybody. So I would like to hear from you what happened.
No, I have no clue because I'm just now hearing about this. So I know that a good friend of mine we went to bail him out the other day, and the charge of murder popped up for him.
Okay. Who's that?
Chris Phelps.
Okay. Is he a buddy or is he actually your cousin?
He's like family, but he's not blood or biologically related. No.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, the whole, I don't know what you're talking about, is kind of out the door at this point. Man, I got several people who have already identified you. You're identified on video. So it's not a question of that you were there. It's more a question of what led up to this, what was supposed to happen, because I don't think this is what was actually supposed to happen. I don't think that it was your plan to go out there and kill somebody that day. But something happened. Right?
I don't know.
So you're just going to play that you have no idea what happened because you weren't there.
I was not. No.
I know you were there. I've seen your communications with people about it. I mean, there's no question, man. So for you to sit here and tell me that you weren't there is kind of ridiculous at this point. It's not helpful to you, really, to just be quiet and not say anything. Because what I have are people who are looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for number one because they don't want to catch charge. So they're going to dime you off. They're not looking out for you.
So you believe somebody that's going to tell you that somebody else did something to save their own ass?
Well, with all the additional evidence, yes. But that is part of why I want to talk to you. Because maybe they're telling me something different about what really happened, what really went down there. I'm not going to believe 100% what they told me.
Yeah, that's good. You probably shouldn't.
Because if they're telling me you're the one who was planning this stuff, do I believe that? I don't know. Should I? I don't, because I know more than that. But playing the whole I wasn't there, it's not helpful to you, man. You're not helping yourself out.
David Wright, with his claimed high IQ, agrees to talk to the police, even though evidence, including witness accounts and CCTV footage, points to him as the one who pulled the trigger in the incident. Despite the odds being stacked against him, David sets himself a challenge to make the detectives believe his version of events. It suggests a certain level of confidence, perhaps even arrogance, which makes him think that he's going home. On the other hand, the detective's use of casual and friendly language, such as man, might be an intentional strategy to establish a rapport with David. By adopting a more approachable tone, the detective could be aiming to create an environment where David feels more comfortable sharing information, potentially revealing more than he intends.
I've been out of jail for all of a week and a half. I've spent almost every minute of it with my girlfriend. So, as for did I plan to kill anybody? Did I kill anybody? No, I didn't.
Okay? So when I look at the GPS on your phone, it's not going to tell me that, it's going to tell me that you were with your girlfriend the whole time, that you never were. We're over at Jack in the Box.
It should.
And the only reason you might tell me that is because maybe you didn't take your phone.
Or maybe somebody else had my phone. It's been known to happen quite often, actually.
Who's your girlfriend?
Her name's Katie.
So this happened Saturday to Sunday. Where were you on Saturday and Sunday?
I want to say, is it Friday or Saturday? I know either Friday or Saturday night. Her and I were at my friend Greg's house all night, most of the night, till like 7 o'clock in the morning. Not sure if that was Friday or Saturday, though.
Okay. Okay, so let's say that was Friday or Saturday night. Where would you be the following night?
Either at home.
Well, I'm sorry, where is home for you?
I've been staying with a friend of mine over off of 2nd Ave.
Okay. So you're saying that you were just home the entire weekend?
I've been home most of the weekend because I've been trying to stay clean for DOC. And it's not conducive to me doing so if I'm out running around going places where I know people get high.
Okay. Did anybody else have your phone this weekend?
My phone has been, I left it in one person's car, and it took me a day and a half to get it back.
When was that?
That was earlier in the week. And then I let somebody use my phone. They were supposed to just go to 7-Eleven to go meet somebody that was selling something to an offer up.
Mm-hmm.
And they had apparently 7 or 8 things that they had to do between then and when they got back to the house.
So what day was that?
I don't remember.
Okay. And who was that?
That was the guy that goes by Memphis. It's a nickname. I think his first name's Joe. Black guy.
I know Memphis.
The The lack of movement, stiff body language, and the subtle movement of the chair suggests unease or discomfort. This could indicate that David is feeling the pressure of the interrogation and may be trying to control his physical reactions. The inconsistencies in his story and the unsuccessful attempt to manipulate the situation hint at a lack of intelligence of how evidence works against his claims. David's consistent lying about his whereabouts is a dumb but deliberate effort to create a false alibi. By trying to frame an African-American man and avoiding specific timelines, he seems to think that he's diverting suspicion. But there is a huge flaw in his story. The CCTV footage clearly captures a Caucasian male.
Well, what day was that? It's only a couple days ago, man. Like, if we were talking to you a month after this happened, I could understand you maybe not remembering.
I don't remember the exact days on that stuff. I don't really pay attention to the days unless it's the day I have to go check into DLC. Or like today where I have an appointment that I'm supposed to be at 1 o'clock.
It's 2 days ago.
Like I said, I don't really pay attention to the days.
Okay. So you're sitting there for a murder one charge. I would expect you to kind of rack your brain a little bit more if you didn't do the crime to help me rule you out as the suspect. Were you in any stores or any locations that I can put you on video somewhere?
Not if I've been home.
I agree. I'm just asking you. Like, if there's something that I could use to rule you out, I'm more than happy to. The last thing I want to do is put an innocent person in jail and potentially prison for 20 years off a crime they didn't do. That's not my style. So I want to give you the opportunity to help me rule you out. If you rule me out, I go in a different direction. To be honest with you, that's unlikely, but I'm open-minded to it. I've been surprised before. I'll be honest, I was surprised in this case already. So,
Not as surprised as I am.
well, that's not true, but I'm not trying to be mean, or anything, but I mean, you know why you're here and what's going on. I mean, at this point, you're literally the last person we've talked to. And the only person that has an allegiance to you is Chris. So, I mean, obviously people are not going to be shy about telling us who was there and who did what. And plus we have video, which you know because you guys called the 7-Eleven to see if they had video. So,
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box, excuse me. Lord. There's video at the Chevron. There's video at the Shell. You know that we have all your co-suspects under arrest. Like, all I want from you is a reason. I understand what happened. I just need to know why.
By directly linking the seriousness of the murder charge to the importance of remembering details, the detective aims to emphasize the gravity of the situation. This approach is designed to induce cognitive dissonance, a state of discomfort that arises when there's a mismatch between beliefs and actions. The detective is essentially suggesting that if David is innocent, he should have a clearer memory of the events. This is not a one-sided theory, so it also subtly highlights that if he doesn't have a good memory about what happened 2 days ago, he is, in fact, the murderer.
The only person I know you have under arrest is Chris.
Okay. We have Cody under arrest. Brianna's actually under arrest too because she was stupid. And we have Tannehill, what's his name, Ray?
Ray.
He's in custody as well. We have his car. The car that was used. The car that was at Chevron in our impound. They are all under arrest. You were the last. Chris is under arrest because we viewed messages on the phones that organized picking you up. Those same messages from you to Cody. We have them on their phone. We've already viewed them. We have the Facebook communications between Chris and Brianna setting up the deal that happened where you guys showed up at the Chevron and walked down. I'm just being straight with you because this is how this plays out. Your girlfriend's going to be dumb enough to provide you an alibi on a murder charge. And then she's going to get roped up in a murder as an accessory. If you care about that person, you have just set her up for failure. So I'm letting you know, as trying to be decent with you, like this isn't a, we're going to trick you into saying something. This is a explain what happened because it matters for you later. You're going to be charged with murder one. Whether it stays murder one, that's up to the prosecutor. If you're cooperative, you know from past cases, I'm assuming, that that charge can change up and down. So I'm just asking you to make a decision, and I'm not going to sit here and talk to you for 45 minutes and try to beat it out of you, because that's not where we're at. We're beyond us trying to trick you into saying something. That's why I just laid out for you kind of where we're at, because there's no game that I need to play at this point. And if you want your girlfriend jammed up because you just set her up for it, then that's your choice.
The detective strives to appeal to David's rational side, emphasizing the benefits of honesty. Since David hasn't interrupted yet, the detective believes they're making progress and that David might reconsider his stance.
You know, can't threaten me with jamming her up.
It's not a threat, man. I'm just telling you how it plays out. Like, I'm going to go talk to her, and she's going to be dumb enough to lie for you. When I got video evidence that you weren't with her, and you just told me you were with her all weekend, and she's going to tell me that. So that's not a threat. I'm telling you what's going to happen, because I have to continue the investigation, because you've now provided an alibi that I got to walk down. That's just what has to happen. I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you how this plays out so that it doesn't have to play out that way. Because you're involving her. You're being dumb by doing that. And I'm trying to be upfront with you about it, because I'm not trying to be a to you.
I don't know where you guys think you get your information from, but it wasn't there. It's one of the two
with
places.
Your girlfriend the entire time, right?
90% of the time, 95% of the time, she's right with me.
Okay. Like,
And,
dude, I get it. Like, you had a quick come up, right? I get it. I don't think you were a stone cold killer. I don't. That's not you. Like, I mean, I don't know if you remember me at all. I have a face that's pretty hard to forget, but I chased you around North Everett when you were Harry Potter, right? You remember that? Well, you've had a lot of contact with officers back when you were a kid and toting knives and just doing dumb kid stuff, right? So I don't believe you're that guy. Like, I think this was a mistake, but if this is your time to bring that forward.
You may have noticed that the main female interrogator has taken a step back to allow the secondary detective to apply additional pressure. This change could have been a strategic decision to create a contrast, but once they notice the responses from David, they stick to their new roles. Besides, the silent presence of the main female interrogator serves as an observational tactic. Despite these subtle psychological shifts in direct confrontation, David is stubborn, which may stem from the desire to maintain control, a fear of consequences, or an overestimation of his ability to control the situation.
If you accidentally shot the dude because you flinched or you got scared because of something he did, now is the time. If you come up with that stuff later, nobody is going to believe a word you say.
How the f would somebody accidentally shoot somebody?
Because if your finger's on the trigger, it's called a sympathetic reflex. It happens to police officers all the time.
I think that's a term that's been come up with just to cover their asses for shooting people.
You know, you can try to make it about that. I'm talking about you.
I wouldn't know. Never shot anybody.
Before.
Never have.
By rejecting the concept of a sympathetic flinch, which refers to a physical or emotional reaction that indicates empathy, concern, or discomfort in response to someone else's situation, David maintains a stance that aligns with his denial of responsibility. Dismissing the detective's explanation is also an indirect but clear challenge to the authority or expertise of the interrogator.
Okay.
Never even shot an animal.
So, where are we at then, man? I mean, you're unwilling to provide me with some stuff that I can rule you out. So, where do I go from here? I mean, you're the police officer, reverse roles. You're the cop. You're sitting over here trying to figure out if this dude has any remorse for what he did, or if he's just worried about getting in trouble, how would you proceed?
I'm not worried about getting in trouble, but I didn't do shit.
Okay.
Think you've got some people that might have said that I did to cover their own asses?
Got your phone numbers, too. The one that shows your phone number and your address and the communications between you two. Like, I have it. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just laying it out for you because that's
Just
where
because I
we're
met
at.
up with somebody doesn't mean that I went with them to go do something.
When evidence corners David into a deviation from his narrative, the intellectual duel leans in favor of the detective, who demonstrates strategic questioning, presenting evidence at accurate moments, and smoothly steering the conversation. Rather than relying solely on confrontational tactics, the detective employs a nuanced approach by leveraging evidence to guide David into a revealing statement. This is smartness. David, on the other hand, exhibits over-smartness by attempting to deceive the detectives with lies and evasive maneuvers. While intelligence involves understanding and responding to new information, over-smartness often involves rigid adherence to a preconceived plan, even when it becomes unsustainable. So much for his 150 IQ.
Okay. So, when did you meet up with Cody?
Probably 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that.
On what day?
Maybe Saturday or Sunday.
Okay. Where did you meet up?
Over by my house.
Okay. And who was with him?
That I don't know.
Was he alone?
When I met up with him, yes.
So why did you meet up with the dude that you didn't know?
Because my friend Chris had asked me to.
Okay. And so what happened after that?
Well, he had tried to proposition me for a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I didn't have one.
Okay.
So,
Did he say why?
no.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering the communications you guys had, you would have known before you met.
He didn't give me any specifics or details. Chris had said something about he had an issue. Well, you got somebody that's dead.
Doesn't mean it's a murder. There's all kinds of different homicides and levels, and some are justified, some are not.
I have no specifics or anything like that.
Okay, so where did you meet up with the dude, Cody?
Over by my house.
Yeah, but what does that mean? There's a lot of stuff over by your house. Like at your house?
Like on the corner of the side street, because I don't bring people to my house.
Bring a lot of people to your house. We've been watching it for a few days.
Not anymore.
David's persistent denial and illogical explanations have been testing the detective's patience for quite a while now, so his unexpected laughter might stem from a mix of frustration and amusement. Even though this does not seem like a planned strategy, it can have some psychological effects. By laughing at the apparent absurdity of David's claims, the detective might be aiming to subtly challenge his credibility and create a moment of discomfort. But will it break down David's confidence and encourage a more honest dialogue?
And then, so you guys meet up, you have this conversation, then what happens?
He leaves.
And how did he leave?
Well, I walked back to my house, and he walked back to whatever vehicle he was in.
Okay. Why did you leave that out when we first started talking? You think that might be important that the guy under arrest for murder came to your house looking for a gun?
Well, if I had given him a gun, then I think that would be important.
Well, it shows his intent. I mean, of course it's relevant to the case, right?
People buy guns for all sorts of reasons now.
Yeah, but in this instance, there was a murder with the guy that had just come to your house. I just asked you about. So I'm asking you why you left that out.
And you didn't tell me until recently that he was the one arrested for murder.
Come on, how do you get to pick and choose what's important in a murder investigation? David's antics are truly testing the detective's patience. His selective disclosure and nonchalant attitude about omitting crucial information reveals minimization. He seems to be attempting to evade the broader implications of their meeting. David's playing by a rulebook only he seems to understand.
That's not true. You said, we can rewind 30 minutes into this conversation, if you'd like, where I named everybody off prior to that. So, and I'm not trying to make you wrong. I'm just trying to tell you, you left that out. I'm wondering why. Because the answer's obvious, right?
You just recently in this conversation let me know that Cody was one of the ones involved, saying that you had communications between him and I. And that you
Well,
could-
I explained to you who everybody was that was arrested. So when I laid out the 5 people, that was a while in the past. I'm just when I named his name back then. We can go back to the tape. It's all being recorded, right? But I would have been like, oh, yeah, that too came to my house. The fact that you didn't mention it, you obviously understand how that looks, right? Like you're trying to hide something.
Well, being as I'm a convicted felon and I'm trafficking firearms,
Yeah.
that might be something I would like to hide,
Granted.
no matter what somebody's using them for.
Okay. How does he know who you are then?
Maybe my name was mentioned when they were coming to meet me.
But he didn't see you.
Unless he seen me when he was parked.
But you didn't see the car.
I didn't look for the car.
Okay.
Unless I'm coming to meet somebody at their vehicle, I don't ask what vehicle they're in.
Well, that's not. And again, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to insult you, but that's not very smart. You're meeting somebody to sell guns, and you're not going to watch around you to see where they come and go. You are smarter than that. That's why I'm saying that's not
He
very
was
smart.
referred
You
to me
wouldn't
by
do
somebody that I trust.
that. Okay. I would still be on my 6. Explain to me how his partner was able to pick you out of a montage too.
I have no clue.
Neither do I. That's where it's weird if you weren't there with them. Explain to me how you are on the Shell video. Behind Shell Station. Explain that one to me.
I don't know.
I'm asking for an explanation. People who aim to appear smart may be driven by a desire for social validation, a need to boost self-esteem, or even a fear of being perceived as less competent. In some cases, like this one, individuals overcompensate for insecurities by trying to showcase their intelligence, even if it means exaggerating. The underlying motivation can vary from person to person, but the common thread is a quest for recognition and a positive self-image. But the real question is, how can one come across as smart with responses like these?
Well, I need that explanation if you weren't there, because it has to make sense. If you didn't go, how were you in the car? So at this point, I'm just being what you say matters, and it matters now. It doesn't matter in the next year. It probably doesn't matter in the next 5 years. But you know when it matters? In the next 10 to 20 years. That's when it matters. You understand what I'm saying? The back end of this is what matters. Not the front end.
I have enough felony points, it doesn't matter at all.
It absolutely does matter. You want to know why? Because it matters what your charging is. It matters 100% what happened, and it fits a different criteria that affects your charging. If you sit there and you lie to me and say you weren't there when I have, and I just be upfront, I have an unbelievable amount of proof that you were there, and this is no hustle. I've hustled people before, and you can tell I'm not hustling you. That matters. Not up front, but on the back end. You're a young man.
I still say I don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough, man. Do you have remorse?
If I killed somebody, I probably would.
honestly don't know where to go from here. I didn't expect the response that I just got because I didn't think you were that person. So, I mean, you understand how this plays out from here, right? Because I laid it out for you.
Yeah, I go to jail. You ask my girlfriend if I've been there. She'll tell you whatever she tells you. You might ask my buddy Greg if I'd been there. He'll tell you whatever he tells you. Should you choose to charge them, then so be it. But,
dude, it's not my style to deal with people like that. I'm a pretty straight shooter when it comes to this stuff because, you know, like I said, your situation isn't going to change. Like, I'm not a vindictive guy. But if you tell me that she is your alibi, I have to go ask her that.
David is trying to outsmart the detective with tricky answers, and it looks like the detective is fairly disarmed at this moment. However, he does not lose his calm and remains professional and even friendly. Even though David brags about having a high IQ, the detective has to break things down when explaining them to him, like he's a child. And that seems like the best course of action here. Stroking an adult man's ego who considers himself as the smartest person in the room is similar to dealing with a child that may require careful handling. Just like with children, providing explanations, patiently breaking down information, and addressing their need for acknowledgement can be effective strategies.
Can you respect that? Like, I'm trying to be decent with you. I didn't have to tell you any of this stuff.
and whatever you're telling me, I think you're full of shit on it. Because I
Do
didn't
you
do
really?
anything.
Do you really? I've given you enough information to know, so you know that I have the knowledge that I have. You know that there's cameras at 7-Eleven, or I keep saying 7-Eleven, at Jack in the Box. You know that.
David's response to the detective's attempt to establish mutual respect suggests a deep-seated skepticism and a lack of trust. It can also indicate a defensive posture, possibly rooted in a belief that others are not genuine or that they have hidden motives. But in reality, it's a manifestation of his overall resistance to cooperation and an assertive attempt to maintain control in the conversation.
Because you were smart enough to call and ask.
No. Sure wasn't.
Okay, look, whatever. I'm just telling you, you know that there are cameras there. And if you're as smart as I think you were, you know there's cameras at the Shell station, and you know there's outside cameras at the Chevron because they're visible. You could just walk over there and see that.
There's cameras everywhere.
Right, and you did it in like one of the most well surveilled places because of the amount of crime that occurs at that location. Like, that's the main drug meet in South Everett, right? I mean, that's where dudes go to do their exchanges. So I'm at a loss.
The detective appealing to David's smartness is an attempt to engage him on an intellectual level. By acknowledging his intelligence, he's trying to build rapport and create an environment where David feels respected and understood.
All of these other people are going to be affected by your decisions. I mean, they are affected by your decision. It was the decision that fast that I'm sure you've thought in your head over and over again that I want to take that back. It was a mistake. But that fast is going to equate to years for other people that had nothing to do with that decision you made. But because the way the law is written, that you guys were there to do a robbery, it's a murder in the first degree. That's why it's at that level. Got nothing? That's it?
Well, apparently every time I say something to you, you think I'm lying, so why say anything at all?
Well, look, man, you can pretend you're upset, but you're not. I mean, I've proved that you're lying.
Not upset. I'm just, logically, if you're going to call me a liar, there's no point in me saying anything.
I don't think I ever called you a liar. I said that you...
The detective shifting to appeal to David's emotions suggests an effort to evoke empathy and a sense of responsibility in him. By emphasizing the potential impact of his actions on others, the detective aims to make David consider the broader consequences of his choices.
I'm asking you to complain about not being at home with your girlfriend Saturday night.
But before we can see more of the interrogator's confrontational strategies, David fakes getting upset, which changes the dynamics of the interview and brings defensive strategies into play.
And respectfully, there are not a lot of dudes out there wearing glasses that do crime. It's pretty rare. Like for me to have two in one case. I'm telling you, I do this for a living. What I need from you is where the gun ended up and where your clothes ended up. That's what I'm looking for you, for your cooperation. Because right now, your cooperation is all that you have.
I don't know what clothes or gun you're talking about.
The clothes you were wearing Saturday night, where are those?
I probably put them in the hamper so they'd be washed.
Okay. So the clothes you were wearing Saturday night are at your place.
More than likely.
What does that mean?
Well, I have been known to change clothes at 2 other places, but I don't think that I was there. So.
Okay. And what were you wearing Saturday? Do you remember?
Or specifically Sunday morning.
Yeah, Saturday night late after you met with when you met with Cody. What were you wearing?
Blue jeans, white t-shirt.
Okay.
Probably either a zip-up sweater or a pullover sweater because it's been cold out.
Okay. What color would that be?
Almost every one that I own is black. I have one dark blue one.
Okay. Did you go to any convenience stores that day? Stayed home all day.
Well, I didn't necessarily stay home, but
Okay. Well, let's get into that. Where'd you go? Because you told me earlier you had stayed home the entire time.
so, I go meet people out on the street or a couple blocks away.
Like walking down, you mean?
I walk to go meet them, yes.
So, is there any video that I could see that puts you in some certain clothes somewhere that wouldn't match my suspect's clothes?
Let's see. Later in the day, Sunday, maybe.
Well, later in the day Sunday, if you had done this crime, you would have gotten rid of the clothes you were wearing, right?
If I had known that there was a crime commit,
Yeah.
and I was the one that did it, I probably would have.
Okay.
But
Okay, so where were you later in the day on Sunday? Let's do that. Where can I see what you were wearing then?
well, I walked from my house, took the interurban trail over to Leah's house over by Silver Lake.
Mhm.
And then me and Katie got a ride back from there from Chris, and I stopped at the little Asian store on 112th across from 7-Eleven.
Do you know where that is?
I know I left my keys, my phone charger, my phone, and my wallet all at Leah's house and had to go back and get it.
It's trusting of you. In the circles you're in.
I left in a hurry
Why?
because I had to go get some heroin for my girlfriend who was sick.
Okay.
Watching the old.
People do not use heroin as a remedy for illness. But what is more surprising is the fact that David acts as if he hadn't just been caught in his lies multiple times. there's hardly any change in his body language, which allows overconfidence and borderline foolishness.
So you clearly have a genuine distrust of the police. Is that fair to say?
I distrust almost everybody.
Detective Brenneman has pretty much laid out his cards. He's not holding back much of anything about this case. He's being pretty upfront and honest with you about the information that we have. So, I mean, at this point, there's no tricks. Nobody's trying to pull the wool over your face there. He's being honest with you about the information that we have, trying to give you an opportunity. And I mean, you've already said flat out you don't believe that he has that information. But, I mean, with everything he's told you, you have to know that what he's telling you is true.
Well, whatever you have, you've got from people that may not necessarily be giving you information for the best of reasons. So
Take the people out of this. Take them out. Who cares about the people? We've got other stuff. Communications and all those types of things. The video. So it's not just that people are telling us this. We're not relying 100% on people. If we did that, we'd be stupid, right? I like to think I'm not that dumb. So it's not just that we're relying on dopers to give us information about homicide. You take a totality of everything that we have, and we know you're involved. And for you to sit here and just say that you don't have anything to do with it doesn't make any sense. I mean, at this point in the game, that does not make sense. It does nothing for you. Well, it does. Quite frankly, it's a detriment to you. But it doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. And I think you think that it does.
I think that you guys have me confused with somebody else.
Okay.
By maintaining this stance, he gets to create a psychological barrier against the mounting pressure of the truth, protecting his self-perception and possibly alleviating the emotional distress associated with acknowledgement. Instead of using intellect to navigate the situation effectively, he appears to rely on evasive tactics that undermine his credibility.
Well, I mean, we can only throw you so many bones, man. We can sit here and go in circles all day long. Ultimately, that decision is up to you.
Well, I think either way you're not going to believe me, so we should probably just go book me into the jail.
I'll believe you if you tell me the truth.
What's the truth? What you want to hear?
I haven't presented you with any versions of what happened. I don't want to hear anything. I just want the truth. I honestly, I know that this is like a TV show. This is real life, man. This is your life. It's not TV. Like I don't get a promotion if you get charged with murder one. Nothing happens. I just move on to the next case. I don't have anything against you. I actually found you kind of funny when I used to chase you around back then. So, like, there's no ill will towards you. Like, for me, in my eyes, you're a guy who made a really bad decision and it was a split decision. If anybody understands that, it's us, because we have people in that chair every day that do similar mistakes. You didn't go there to plan to murder somebody. Some people do, but you didn't. But now's the time to say that, like, because it matters. And like I said, it doesn't matter now. You're going to get charged. You're going to go to jail today. But it does matter on the back end. Because it matters a lot. And it matters to this person's family. And it matters to the people that are close to you. And it matters to the other suspects in this case. I mean, all of that matters. That's why I'm talking to you. Like, I don't have to talk to you. The evidence is so strong, I could have just sent you over there. And you could go down for murder one. And you can enjoy however much time that is in custody. You can do that. Like, if that's how you want to do it, then do it. Like, that's cool. But I'm giving you the opportunity up front. I've thrown you a bone or two to explain to you where you're at. Like, none of that had to happen. This isn't me coming at you and calling you a liar and all that stuff. This is me, like, trying to be straight with you that you're making really bad decisions right now based on your past, but this isn't like your past. This isn't a property crime. This isn't a stolen car or a dope charge. It's totally different. What we do is totally different. I don't have any ill will towards you. I really don't. Like, I hope that's come across. I've laid out for you what I have to do in this investigation. I've given you a heads up of what's going to happen to other people because you've provided them as alibis. Like, I'm giving you that bone so that you could take that away if you want to. You can say, no, I wasn't with her the whole night.
The detectives, despite having substantial evidence, are keen on obtaining a confession from David. Now, you may be wondering why the interrogators are looking for a confession at all. If they have all the evidence against him, why not charge him directly and be done with this frustrating interview? A confession not only serves as legal validation, but also provides insights into the motive, thought process, and details of the crime. It adds a layer of understanding that goes beyond factual evidence. Additionally, a confession can bring closure to the investigation and the victims' families, offering a clearer narrative of events.
And you could say, that's all I want to say about that. You have that option. Like, I'm just trying to give it to you.
I already told you. I leave periodically. Not ever gone for very long. So I consider myself as being there with her. Pretty much the whole night.
Okay. Dude, you're not this guy. You know you're not this guy. If you were, this conversation would be different.
Yeah, I'm obviously not this guy.
I meant
that
the that is letting everybody else go down for him. I meant that type of guy. That's not you. You have a reputation as being a stand-up dude.
I think that whatever those guys did that leads to you believing that they were accomplices and accessories and everything like that,
Yeah.
would be their own fault if they can hang for it.
Really? Even though, hypothetically, you're the person who pulled the trigger? So even though somebody else pulls the trigger, you're good with those guys going down. Your homie Chris, you're good with him going down. And I get it. You don't have any allegiance to these other two dudes. I understand that. But you're good with Chris going down. Getting 20 years off of what you did. As an estimate, I'm guessing. I don't know what Murder One's going to, I don't know his points. But it's a lot. You're good with that?
If you guys have him orchestrating and setting up something like that, then that's an awful.
It's his own fault that you shot somebody. It's his own fault that you didn't do things the right way. That's his fault.
I ain't shoot nobody.
Okay, so the person that shot this other person, it's Chris's fault that person did that?
He should put himself around better people.
Okay. You know he's going to read this, right? I mean, he's going to have disclosure.
It's fine.
David's willingness to let his friend Chris take the blame for crimes David himself has committed reveals a lack of accountability. By deflecting responsibility onto Chris and blaming his choice of associates, David attempts to distance himself from the consequences of his actions. This attitude reflects not only a disregard for loyalty, but also a troubling pattern of self-preservation at the expense of others. It raises questions about his moral compass and underscores the complexity of his character.
I'd much rather not see my friend get in trouble, but if by you saying that you guys want me to tell you that I did something that I didn't do.
Fair enough. I don't want you to tell me that you did something you didn't do. That's not what I want. I want you to admit to what you did do. Because it's not even a question that you did it. So,
Well, if there was a question,
It's
or
not.
wasn't a question, you wouldn't be sitting here trying to get me to admit to something I didn't do.
I would, because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. You may not trust the police, but I don't want to jam up all these other dudes on a murder one charge for something you did, because it's not right in my mind that other people go down for something that serious off of what somebody else did. It does matter. That's why you're here. I don't need to talk to you. I laid out my case to you. No other detective has ever done that to you before. If they did, they'd be stupid. If they're trying to trick you and they give you details on the case, that's not how you do it. It's police 101. You know that because you've been interviewed a bunch before. Like, I care about what happens to these other people because they got involved in something and were stupid, and then you made a really bad decision and you shot somebody, and now they're looking at 20 years off of something. If they got caught, they should do a couple. So I do care about that. That's why I'm talking to you.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy.
You don't care about those dudes?
I'm not saying I don't care about him. I'm saying that you're talking to the wrong guy
Why?
because I didn't do.
That's
And
not,
I think that
that's not what innocent people say.
innocent people that actually give a
Yeah, no. You know how many people I've had in that chair, man? Thousands. I don't. You don't give a. You don't give a fuck. That's you. Like, enjoy your time. I don't care. Then I don't have any hard feelings for you. I'm just going to move on to my next case. I just want you to know this isn't about you. This isn't personal. Like, you can say you don't care, but I actually think you do. I think you're being.
So, with that said, so you agree that there's nothing more to say, right?
If you don't want to talk to me, there isn't.
The interrogator is now in full-on interrogation mode, but he still maintains an assertive yet measured tone. Despite the high stakes and intensity of the situation, the interrogator chooses words carefully, striking a balance between firmness and restraint. This approach is likely aimed at keeping the atmosphere controlled, encouraging cooperation, and preventing unnecessary escalation, which usually leads to the suspect asking for legal counsel.
Well, I don't want to talk to somebody that's going to keep on calling me a liar.
I have yet to call you a liar,
You've made the implication that I'm lying to you.
because you are. But there's a difference between calling someone a liar and then pointing out inaccuracies in their story. There's a big difference. One is disrespectful. The other is not.
Yeah, well, if you perceive something to be one way, or are
Have I been disrespectful
misinformed,
to you? Have I been disrespectful to you? Have I insulted you or come at you hard or done anything other than
you called me a liar. Yes, you did.
You were lying.
I'm not lying.
Do you not freely admit that you lied to me in this interview
Where did I lie to you? Listen,
about meeting up with Cody? We'll start there. About being home, not going out at all, and then now you periodically are going out. Would you not concede that both of those things were lies?
I don't go farther than a couple blocks from my house on foot to meet somebody very quickly and come back.
Okay. That's not
So,
what you told me. You
that's
said you
pretty
don't
much
leave
being
your
home.
house. I don't leave my house. I was home all weekend with my girlfriend. It's on tape, man. There ain't no secret. Like,
Dude, I've got to walk my dog. Of course I leave the house periodically.
okay.
But as for did I go anywhere?
So you were never at Casino in Evergreen, anywhere near there within 3 or 4 blocks Saturday night. I just want to make sure that we have this down.
Let's see.
Sunday morning.
How far is the Starbucks on Evergreen?
Which Starbucks?
The one on 75th.
Yeah, no,
Too
I'm not
far.
talking about that.
Okay, yeah. Then no, I wasn't.
Okay. So you're at the Starbucks on 75th?
Earlier in the evening, yeah. Like 8 or 9 o'clock, something like that.
Well, that's not home. Did you lie to me? Can I don't even get a smile out of that one. I didn't get you on that one. I feel like I got you on that. Didn't I get you?
Ask from what times
Didn't
to
I
what
get you?
times.
Didn't
No,
I
you
get
didn't.
you? I didn't get you on that one. That wasn't a lie.
No, it wasn't.
So you were at 8 o'clock there on Saturday.
There or thereabouts.
You didn't go into the Starbucks.
No.
Were you with somebody?
Yeah.
Who?
Another woman.
Who was that?
Not going to tell you that because she'd be very upset.
Yeah, but it's a homicide. They can help prove that you weren't involved.
How?
Because if you're with her, right, that gets my timeline tighter. So you were with her from 8 to when?
Not very long.
Okay.
Despite his claims of high intelligence, it doesn't quite add up when he has to ask how for something so simple and straightforward. The irony becomes more apparent when he later expresses frustration at the detectives treating him like a child and explaining everything. It raises questions about the alignment between his professed intellect and the way he handles basic information.
To 75th? Then how'd you get home?
I got a ride from her with my bicycle in the back of her SUV.
So there was a car. Did I get you there? I feel like I got you there too. No? You didn't lie to me about being in a car? I feel like you did.
I wasn't in a car when I went to the Starbucks. I wasn't even at a car leaving the Starbucks.
And you 3 years old, are you doing the 6-year-old thing on me? Like, you're an adult man. What kind of SUV was it?
Oh, wait.
Oh, thanks. That's not helpful. Okay. You're a car guy.
Who said I'm a car guy?
The people I have talked to.
Oh, well, those people have lied to you.
You don't know nothing about cars?
I know how to put gas in them and drive them.
Oh, okay. Was your girlfriend home when this person dropped you out? So that means you would have had to have ridden from your house, right? To Starbucks on your bike? All right. So is that near your house? Did I get you there?
Look, you asked where I was.
Yeah,
Saturday
I appreciate
night,
it. I'm just
Sunday
looking for
morning.
honesty, man. I mean, at this point, I feel comfortable that you have lied to me several times. I'm looking for honesty so that I can rule you out.
If you asked where I was Saturday night, Sunday morning,
I did.
yeah. So Sunday morning, late Saturday night,
Yeah.
doesn't cover 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening.
Oh, okay. So then let's rewind. So Saturday morning to 8 o'clock, where were you?
Most of the time, at home.
Can you just lay it out for me? Why do I gotta pull it out of you? I'm asking where you were, man, so I can rule you out.
The detective is practically getting back at him now, poking at the inaccuracies in his story and asking, "Did I get you there?" This seems to be pushing David's buttons, making him more responsive and noticeably agitated. But David remains steadfast in his version of the story, whether out of sheer conviction or perhaps a stubborn foolishness.
But Saturday, did you go to those places? I don't need to know where you generally go. I need to know where you went Saturday.
I probably went to 7-Eleven at some point.
Okay. Any idea what time?
I go when I need something or want something.
I understand, but that's why I'm asking. Like, any time? Do you remember wanting or needing something on Saturday?
No, I don't, because I don't feel like I need to track every one of my movements and shit like that, because I don't need to have a Loctite schedule of what I'm doing and where I'm going.
Generally, that is true.
As long as I'm at DOC on Thursdays between 1 and 3,
Yeah.
and I make my appointments with Ideal Options, then it doesn't seem like a big deal to me where I go.
Okay, unless you're being charged with murder, then it kind of is a big deal, right?
Yeah, but if I don't pay attention to and keep track of these things, how the f am I going to tell you where I was without lying to you then? Because I don't know exactly when I was there.
Well, you could at least try.
Yeah. Yeah, I would try. If it can rule you out as a suspect in a homicide, I would try. I would.
Yeah, well, where I was Saturday during the day has no bearing on where I was Saturday night, Sunday morning.
It does. Absolutely it does. Because I can show you wearing different clothes. Or I can show you wearing the same clothes. Right? That's pretty important. Do you agree? I can show that you were with somebody else. and not with these people.
People change their clothes. People meet other people.
Oh, no question. But if I'm chipping away at that timeline, right, it can be exculpatory for you, meaning that it excludes you as a suspect.
I know, my vernacular is very good.
Sweet.
So, you don't have to explain your words to me.
Brilliant 150 IQ David means vocabulary and not vernacular when he claims his linguistic prowess. Clearly, we are just catching up to his intelligence.
Look, dude, you can act like you're upset about that. You're not. So let's move past it.
The fact that you're talking to me like I'm a child,
You're
or
not.
that
I'm
fucking
not
a
talking to you
liar
like a
is
child.
fucking upsetting.
How did I talk to you like a child? Tell me when. I think
you
I've
have to
been.
explain a word that you're using to me.
Most people don't know what that word means. I
Well, most people are
apologize.
fucking idiots.
Okay, you can pretend you're getting upset about it, but you're really not.
No,
You're just
what I'm
trying to
getting upset
divert
about
away
is you
from
call
what
me
we're
a
talking
liar.
about. Because you lied. You lied. And I don't actually think I called you a liar. I did say you lied, but I don't think I actually called you a liar. So I'll call it to you now so we can just move past it. You are a liar. You have lied. It doesn't mean as a person in whole you're a liar, but you have lied to me in this conversation, I'm guessing 5-6 times already.
So if somebody rapes somebody, they're not a rapist, they just raped.
Potentially. Are you
That's
a,
the dumbest fucking thing I've heard.
are you a
Conversation's
are
over.
you a rapist if you one person as a 12-year-old and then the rest of your life you don't do anything? Are you a rapist? I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you murder somebody, are you a murderer your whole life? Or can you move past it?
You'd think that they'd be a murderer because they've committed the act.
I don't agree with you. And I do this for a living. One decision doesn't make a person what they are.
Yeah, well, that's your opinion.
That's true. So your opinion is that if you make one mistake, a split-second mistake, that labels you for the rest of your life? Because that's not my opinion. You're going to pay for the crime that happened if you commit a murder. But once you do your debt to society, should you still be labeled a murderer? For me, no. And I should be one of the more harsher critics, I would think, doing what I do. One act doesn't make you what you are. Who you are makes you what you are. That's how I look at it. So if you look at it differently, I respect that you have a different opinion.
Apparently not, because you refuse to accept anything I say. So
That doesn't even make sense. I've accepted a lot of what you've said. I accept that you met with Cody, that you acknowledges your phone conversations, that you were going to sell a gun, a 12 gauge, that you were near Starbucks. That's probably true. I believe that. You went to 7-Eleven. Those are truths. I accept those things. What I don't accept is, you lying about doing what you did. I mean, it's ridiculous because I've given you an out. I've explained to you the backside of what happens, and you're still doing what you're doing. So it's fine. I mean, you make your choice, and you live with your choice.
you're continuously trying to talk me into admitting to something I didn't do.
Nope. I'm not trying to talk you into being honest. I don't care if you admit it or don't admit it. That's fine. I present a case to the prosecutor. My case file goes to the prosecutor. They review it. They make a decision. Right now, that case file says not cooperative. When presented with evidence that is clear that he was involved, lied about his involvement, said his friends could basically f*** off. They put themselves in that situation. Willing to set up his girlfriend to lie for him. The prosecutor is going to read that and be like, this guy's an asshole. Put that right over here. That's the choice you're making.
Initially, David was all laid back with his hands in his lap, but now as the heat of the interrogation rises, he's got one hand covering almost 1/4 of his face, which is a classic "I might be hiding something" pose. The detectives are not buying the vague answers anymore, and David's hand becomes the unintentional narrator of tension in the room.
And you're presented as a monster who's out on the street, doing robberies, killing people, no regard for anybody, doesn't care about the people close to him, bringing down those people with him. I don't care. Do your thing, man. Own it. It's your choice. But I honestly don't think you're that big a... I don't think you are. I don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Like, it doesn't fit. Do you want to tell me what happened or not?
Couldn't tell you because I don't know.
Fair enough. You good? You got anything? All right. We'll end up close the tape out for you, right, man?
Should have done that a long time ago when I said the conversation was over.
Okay. Whatever you say, partner.
The detective, upon concluding the conversation, audibly sighed, which is a direct indicator of potential frustration with the unyielding nature of David's responses. Despite the detective's efforts and the evolving confrontational tone, David's arrogance persists.
That just was that you waved your whites in the beginning because you did. I just forgot to have you do it. Read this out loud for me.
See, I can't do that because I'm not the only person that spoke on that tape. So,
Okay, so it says, I, David Wright, declare that the facts stated on this tape are true and correct to the best of my knowledge. My statement has been made freely, voluntarily, and without threats or promises of any kind. This only speaks to what you said, not what Detective Brenneman or I said.
it doesn't exclude that either, though. So,
You'll figure right in there that it excludes what Detective Brenneman and Detective Atkins said. It's just a perjury statement, man. It's saying what you said is the truth. It's the standard one that's on the form that everybody signs. So
I'm not going to sign that, and I can't write an exclusion to a form that's a standard form. So,
why not? It's handwritten on there in blue ink.
yeah, in the presence of the two people that it excludes.
You're on
With a
tape,
video
man.
tape
So
to
what?
document it. Yeah,
It's
no
not
problem.
gonna
Just
happen.
write
I can write
refuse to
refused.
sign then for me. Will you write that?
It
Nothing?
won't.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, is everything you told me the truth today?
Yes, it is.
100%?
Yep.
No lies?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. So,
I'm
and
going to
did
write
I
in.
promise you or threaten you in any way?
No, you made plenty of threats, but
I did?
yeah,
I don't believe I did. But
not to harm my person or anything like that. But you've made threats.
I don't feel like I did. But did the way I spoke to you adjust the way you talked to me in any way and mean that what you said was not accurate or true?
No, but you seem to think that it is, which
Fair
is why
enough.
this conversation is definitely over.
Fair enough. But as far as the perjury statement goes, what you said is true and correct. Did I promise you anything at any time? Are you thinking or
If you wish to speak to me again, you should do so with an attorney present.
fair enough? Man.
I'm going to write in refused.
Fair enough.
So questioning and statement ended at
13:26 hours.
What a genius move, waiting until the interrogation was over to ask for an attorney. David's refusal to talk without an attorney and his claim of threats from the detectives is still a strategic move to protect himself legally. It could indicate a level of defensiveness and a desire to assert control in a situation where he feels vulnerable. Despite David's best efforts, on October 7, 2020, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in the killing of Raul Cuadros, and he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. David's partner in crime, Christopher Phelps, received a 12-year sentence after pleading guilty to second-degree manslaughter, first-degree criminal assistance, and a drug charge. Cody Anderson, who accompanied David to rob Brianna and Raul, got nearly 3 years for attempted first-degree robbery. And Raymond Tannehill, who was waiting in the vehicle to drive David and Cody away, was sentenced to just over 2.5 years after pleading guilty to attempted robbery. As we've seen so far, David Wright presents a complex psychological profile. His pseudo-confidence, insistence on a high IQ, and attempts to control the narrative indicate a strong ego. By presenting himself as highly intelligent, he may believe he can outsmart others, but that is not the case. He's not fooling anybody. In fact, he may come across as a fool himself. But there's a reason behind this facade. Inflating one's intellectual capabilities can provide a shield against feelings of inadequacy or vulnerability. However, this obsession on a high IQ may hinder genuine self-reflection and acknowledgement of mistakes, contributing to continued denial and lack of remorse, as in David's case. Given the context, we invite you to share your thoughts and insights on this case. What strategies could law enforcement have employed differently to elicit more cooperation from David? And how, according to you, did David's emphasis on his high IQ impact the dynamics of the interrogation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you'd like us to cover any case, please drop your suggestions. Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can keep covering such cases. Until next time, stay safe.